Walk us through the construction process, if you would, Duane. Describe what we will see if we go on a plant tour.
So the frame would come in, the steel frame would come in the back of the production line, come in, and the first thing we do is put axles on, and then we put the holding tanks on. And the axles, the bolts are torqued to a certain amount of foot-pounds. The wheels are put on and set to a certain, they're not torqued to spec in the floor department, because then they'll get torqued up the production line by several people. By the time it goes out the door, the person pulling it out the door will torque it for the last time to the perfect spec. But and then the axles, the wheels get put on, and all that's done with hoist. So it's down on the floor, then sitting on the floor on the wheels. We put holding tanks in, hook up all the holding tanks, the plumbing, the termination plumbing, and then we roll it over a station and we flip it upside down. And we put underbelly on. That procedure varies from plant to plant in the industry. Some people do that reversed. But then after that, the floor gets set. And then from there, the interior
and the flooring.
walls,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but real quick, the flooring is not just a particle board. It's tongue and groove, isn't it? Marine grade.
Correct. Ours is it's aluminum frame floor. The floor joists are aluminum frame, or aluminum tubes. We don't use pine there like some people do. But then we also use a tongue and groove plywood, marine grade plywood that goes on there. And then we set the floor, put linoleum on, and then we have plumbing holes in the floor already. We do that when we build the floor. And then the interior walls, the cabinets get set. The interior walls get screwed to the floor. The cabinets just kind of get tacked until the exterior walls are on. But then it rolls up. All the plumbing gets hooked up, and then it rolls on up the line. The exterior walls get set, put in place, and then right after that,
and I got to ask you again, I'm sorry, but the exterior walls, I find that process to be pretty interesting because you've got aluminum for the studs in the walls and not wood, and that's in all the sides of your RVs, right? That's a big deal. It is,
and it's an aluminum, or it's a laminated product, so those are all done. The walls are all laminated, welded, and laminated in our lamination facility, and then they get shipped down to the production line. Then we put them on the floor chassis, and then after that we install the cabinets, make sure the overheads, the base cabinets are all screwed in, and in my two production lines we then put the roof on after that, and then we wire the whole coach for all the electrical.
Talk to me about the roofing, though. Talk to me, before we go into all the electrical stuff, talk to me about the roofing, because I find that also very fascinating, how it's put together. You know, you can see it when you go on the plant tour. You can see the aluminum frame, and you can see the insulation. And talk with me a little bit about that, because your roofs are one piece. So I'll teeing it up for you. Run with it.
So the roofs are a one-piece laminated roof. And they're domed. So they have our lamination process actually puts it on a mold to get it to the right dome. They're domed. They're a very solid roof. They have wire channels in them. They route wire channels in the foam in the roof, and then we push wires through the channels to wire our coach for all the lights, anything in the overheads. We do have some wiring in the walls, but very little. Most of our wiring is done either in the chassis or in the roof or through cabinets.
Right.
And then from there, it goes into our roof scaffold, where the roof gets screwed down. The cabinets inside get screwed to the ceiling. And then we prep everything, get it ready for rubber roof. And then it rolls up. We put rubber roof on, put all the roof components on, the air conditioner, the antennas, the vents, max air vents, reefer vents. By reefer, I mean refrigerator. Then it rolls on up, and it basically gets what we call plugged. All the windows openings, we put windows in all the openings, the trunk doors, the entrance door, slide out gets put in at that point, and set to make sure it runs right. We run it a couple times there, and then from there it gets our water test. So we flood test our unit we fill the tanks up, make sure all the plumbing, there's no leaks, we check all the P-traps. We air test, we run water through all the water lines.
And this is done on every RV, every one of them.
This is done on every single RV.
Good.
And the water sits in the tanks for roughly 20 to 30 minutes just to make sure that if there's a slow leak that it will get caught. Mm-hmm. And then from there we drain the water there, and then we make sure we run water through all the water lines. We air test the water lines to make sure it holds air for a certain amount of time. And then from there it goes into kind of the fit and finish area of the shop, and it's we do the interior fit and finish, trim, batten. Then the exterior, we put the decals on the exterior. We caulk. All the exterior caulking is done after the striping's on, the decals are on. And then
your leak testing is what fascinated me, is when you actually kind of almost pressure testing. You're pushing pressure inside of the RV to look for leaks. Describe what y'all do there.
Yes, up in just before it goes out the door, we test it for it's basically a big fan that hooks up to our entrance door. We have a sort of a door that has a big opening in it, and it's just a big circular tube going in there, and it blows air into the unit. And we set that at a certain CFM. It blows air into the unit, and then we walk around the outside of the unit, and we spray all openings, all around all the windows, trunk doors, anything where there's penetration into the coach. We spray with soapy water, and to make sure we don't have any leaks. And if it does leak, it bubbles. Mm-hmm. And then we know that there's somewhere there's air coming through. So these coaches are built pretty airtight, just to ensure that there's no, if air can get through, we feel like water can potentially get through. And that's why we test them. That's on every unit every coach that we do that.
What is the most critical part of the construction process, or they're all the same? You know, I mean, is there anything that you go, man, we got to really make sure of, or is it every part of the process is important?
I would say the very important part of the process is in the back end, to make sure that the coach gets put together properly from the very beginning, that things are square, that things are put together right, because it's a lot easier to fix back there than it is up towards final. But I would say that's probably the most critical part, is to make sure everything's square and tight back where it gets put together, the main assembly gets put together.
In terms of RVs today and the quality, in your view, compared to 10 or 15, 18 years ago when you started in the industry, do you think they're really better today, or they're about the same, or what are your thoughts on that? Because I hear a lot of people on social media, they're ragging about how cheap everything is and how awful RVs are. What do you say?
I would say it definitely has been. It's better than what it was. It's come, in my opinion, it's come a long way. And it's a lot of it's consumer driven. And we want to, staying in touch with the warranty side of it. We see what the consumers' complaints are, what the issues are, and it's been consumer driven in a way that I think the consumer demands more, and rightfully so.
And that's what social media has helped. I mean, it's given the consumer a voice, and it's nice to know that manufacturers are actually listening to the consumers, because I know that's a lot of feedback, and sometimes it's the feedback you don't want to hear, but you need to hear.
Yes. I think social media has helped us out tremendously. I know that the Meaning Light fan club page was one of the first fan club pages we had here at the division. I think every product kind of has it now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was started by a consumer that started the fan club page. And being able to be a part of that and seeing not only what the concerns that people have, but also we're able to see people enjoying their camper. And that's very fulfilling for us to be able to see that, how they're enjoying and the scenery they have around them and where they go. It's just awesome. We actually have a bulletin board in our plants that we take pictures off of social media and post them just so our employees can see what people are using these campers for. And it draws a lot of interest.
I love that, and that's how I want to finish this up, is asking about the importance of teamwork. You say, more than 100 people will put their hands on an RV from start to finish. Talk to me about the challenges, or is it very difficult to get people to all be on the same team, working towards the same objective? Talk to me a little bit about the atmosphere at your plants.
It definitely comes with a challenge. I feel like the atmosphere at our plants is extremely good. We put a lot of effort into the atmosphere to making sure we address issues if they come up, but also that we show our appreciation. We do cookouts multiple times a year, just a random. We grill a bunch of burgers and hot dogs and just feed our employees, and they really seem to enjoy that. We kind of have this motto that happy employees build good products, and that's what we try to do here.
I love it. Listen, Duane, we need to leave it there, but thank you so much for taking some time to take us behind the scenes. We will do it again, all right?
I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
you have a great fall and winter there in Millersburg. Well, folks, how was that? That was pretty cool, wasn't it? I have friends in the media side of the RV industry, or rather I know people in the media side of the RV industry who tell me that they have never, ever been on a plant tour. But they write about what happens in plants all the time, like they know firsthand. I don't know. Anyway, did you like this? Did you like this little tour and kind of the backstory? Any comments, questions, anything? Anything you'd like to ask the manufacturer? Feel free to call our 24-hour voicemail, leave us a message, and if you'd like to watch my entire interview with Duane, just go to our YouTube channel. In the search bar, type in The RV Show USA, or call our voicemail 24/7 at 1-330-WINGMAN. That's 1-330-WINGMAN.